Welcome back to The Basement, the friendliest place on YouTube. Today we are discussing the recently finished Nintendo Switch presentation where they talked about launch titles and like all these different games and how much this console is going to cost. Today we're going to be talking about the games that are coming out this year right away for the Switch.
And maybe some mention of the games that weren't mentioned in the presentation that maybe we thought were going to be.
That's true.
Obviously, the biggest news is that Breath of the Wild is coming out on March 3rd, the same day as the console.
Which we literally like flipped out.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
March 3rd. That's amazing news. I had hope that it was going to be a launch title, but I was prepared for it to be a summer or even a holiday 2017 title.
Yeah, me too.
So we'll talk a bit more about Breath of the Wild toward the end of the video. But other games that were mentioned, obviously the 3D Mario, Super Mario Odyssey, that looks like a real 3D game.
It does look
possibly
so good.
with a hub world, since there's so many different kinds of worlds. Maybe non-linear. This feels like a Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine kind of game.
It looked very non-linear to me. Like where you could kind of just go between different worlds as you wanted to.
And people
you didn't have to go.
People have been waiting for a game like this since Sunshine. I think that the Galaxy games are too linear and the Wii U games are too not real 3D. They're like 2.5D.
Yep.
So that's definitely exciting. That one's not coming until holiday 2017. So that'll be a good Christmas present for everyone who gets their Switch this year. Other games.
One game that I was really surprised didn't show up. Like they didn't have any mention. Like they didn't really mention Mario Kart. Like we just saw little bits of footage.
I saw
mention.
I read
Mario
that
Maker. They didn't mention any.
That's true.
They didn't mention any ports. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the correlation.
They only talked about new stuff.
And people suspected, there's going to be a Splatoon port, but no, there's just a straight up sequel.
New Splatoon.
Yeah, which is another game to talk about,
Splatoon.
right? But yeah, that's interesting. No ports. Yes. So Splatoon, they didn't go SPLA, the number 2, and then an N, like some people thought they would.
I thought they would do that too.
But Splatoon 2 looks interesting. I don't know a lot about the first Splatoon, actually. I haven't played it, but they talked about new characters, new weapons, new styles, new
being able to use the Joy-Con as like a fighting style.
Yep.
Which I don't think we're gonna see too much of that.
Yeah, are you gonna move like this with the controllers, or are you just gonna use your analog sticks? I guess it depends how you feel about motion controls.
Yeah.
What'll be interesting to see is if Nintendo actually makes motion controls optional in all the games that support motion controls. That would be really nice. I'd like to play
with the table stand. I could see them just being like, nope, sorry, that's how you play this game. Well, I mean, like ARMS, for example. Like ARMS doesn't work unless you do that.
Well, right, sure. Yeah. There are games where it has to be, but there's some games where you could turn it off and map those movements to the analog sticks.
Sure.
It'll be interesting to see if they support that with all the games that it's possible.
Speaking of ARMS, what a weird game.
Yeah, ARMS and the 1-2 Switch game, those both look interesting, but
yeah, I don't know, but like also I couldn't help but like laugh at the title, like ARMS.
Yeah. ARMS.
Oh, I want arms.
I was expecting it to like
I wish I had arms.
like be an acronym or something like automatic robot missile system or something, but it's it's just arms. Hopefully those games would be like $20, $30 at when they launch.
I'm hoping
so
that
people try them out.
Kind of like
sure.
Wii Sports. I'm hoping and assuming that like the Joy-Con game 1-2 Switch just comes with the Switch.
Or it's possible 1-2 Switch and ARMS are like on the same cartridge.
Disc.
Yeah.
Ooh, like Duck Hunt and Mario.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
And Track and Field. Did you ever have that one?
No. Well, I did, but I didn't have the pad, so it didn't really work.
Now, the Square Enix RPG I thought looked really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
To
what
me,
was that called?
Octopath Traveler.
Octopath Traveler.
I think. It looked like, to me, it looked like a Super Nintendo, a 16-bit RPG, but just like times a billion. But it still felt that way with your sprite moving around, but like beautiful graphics and shading and stuff. But it still felt almost like a Paper Mario, the way it feels really rudimentary, but is gorgeous to look at.
Right.
And then the battle, too, it just looked like an old RPG where you had like your party, and then you had like a group of bad guys, and it was going to be turn-based, it looked like. I don't know. I'm excited to try that one out, I think.
And I'm really excited to feel what 1-2 Switch feels like, because it seemed like the main deal with that was that new Rumble feature, the HD.
Oh
Rumble.
yeah, with the ice cubes in the glass and then the water filling up. Like if it really feels that way, that's going to be awesome.
You know, I've sort of felt that a little bit. Like, you know how the Wiimote has the speaker in it, and you're like, when it's loud enough, like you feel it kind of.
Yeah.
And it sort of does that, but it doesn't feel like it feels like something's happening that's different. I wonder if it's going to feel a lot like that, but just like way more visceral.
Yeah. It could be really immersive if they do that well, and they seem to be excited about it. How about games that we're missing? Well, one more game we should mention that's on the system, and here's why it's interesting. Skyrim. Totally portable Skyrim. I think what that demonstrates, just by existing, and Skyrim fans are going to be excited to be able to play this game on the go, I think.
Yeah. I mean, so I've heard some people complaining about the fact there's not going to be any mods, but like right now, if you want to play Skyrim on the go, you have to bring your laptop. And I mean, I don't know. It'll be nice to be able to just like, boom, Skyrim.
And honestly, with those
so cool.
huge games that support a lot of mods, like the most popular is still the vanilla. The reason they call those vanilla, like mod free, is because vanilla ice cream is the best selling ice cream flavor.
Delicious.
Because it goes with everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think people will be excited about Skyrim, but I think it's interesting because it shows that the hardware has to be of a decent, robust piece of hardware in order to run Skyrim, or at the very least be reasonably easy to port to. Possibly both. And what that says to me is that there can be strong games on it and there can be third-party support. And so the stage is set. They just need to sell a ton of these things right out the gate so that all the third-party companies get excited about developing for the Switch. Okay, games that weren't mentioned in the presentation.
Mother 3.
Yeah.
That was surprising. I really thought that was going to come out, or called like Earthbound, like the story beyond the story, or something like that. The Mario RPG Raving Rabbids thing.
Oh, yeah,
that
crossover.
Heard some rumors about. Like, there was absolutely nothing on that.
No Metroid.
Yeah.
No Kirby. Lesser IPs like Yoshi and Toad Treasure Tracker, people were maybe wondering about.
Yeah, I
no
was
mention.
really like not surprised, but kind of disappointed a little bit that there wasn't any kind of like Metroid, even like a Metroid teaser. Because when you look at how Metroid games have come out on systems, it seems to like skip systems.
Yeah,
and
like skipping generations.
Right, they skip generations or whatever. So like it's we have one due. Since there wasn't a Metroid game for the Wii U, so it's kind of like, okay, it's time for some Metroid, but they didn't show us anything. But
and they did hint at a few games in that final montage that they didn't mention, so there's some excitement there. Pull that footage apart and see if you can find a game that wasn't mentioned that you're excited about. And Basement Dwellers, why don't you tell us what you thought about the game selection at the presentation? Right. Were there games you were really excited that were mentioned? Were there games that you were really disappointed that weren't mentioned? What was confusing to you? What do you think of the name ARMS? And finally, how about that Breath of the Wild trailer? I mean, we've seen a lot of Breath of the Wild footage, but that was the most exciting and impressive thing I've seen.
It was gorgeous.
The
like,
music
Link is just so small compared to the world.
Yeah, and the scenes that they cut together, and the drama, that crying girl that collapses into Link.
Yeah, you're like, oh my gosh,
what's the story?
Who is that?
And the guy, the man says, "You don't recognize me, but you're ready to hear what happened 100 years ago."
And I'm like, ooh, lore.
Is that the old man at the beginning, like with the gray and by the campfire?
Yeah, or maybe he's
why
like,
should
it's
he
dangerous to go
recognize
alone,
him?
But too bad, you're alone. So
I
take
wonder
this.
Is it the King of Red Lions?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But anyway, man, we would love to hear your guys' thoughts about what you thought was going on in this presentation.
Yeah, tell us your thoughts about
what
the games.
Games were you really disappointed you didn't see? Which games were you super excited that you saw? Which games are you thinking like, oh man, I wish that game would show up a little earlier in the lineup, maybe at launch or something. I don't know. Let us know. We really like to have those conversations with you guys and see you guys having those conversations with each other here in the basement.
Yeah, that's right.
Until next time, basement, go ahead and click that little ring that bell down below for notifications on more videos from the basement. And until we see you again, we think that you are more
exciting than a sequel to
Excite Bike
in the Basement.